Howdy, my name is Andrew Monaco. I'm an inside sales technician at Jetstream of Houston, and today I'm going to be going over the general maintenance of Jetstream's 3D tank cleaning tool, the H3Orbiter. Now, to start out, when you're setting up the maintenance on this tool, we recommend that you place this tool in a vise. Now, when the vise clamps on the tool, make sure it clamps on this half by the manifold. If you clamp it on this half, you could damage the structure of the tool and ultimately brick it entirely. So the maintenance on this tool consists of replacing two seal kits. The seal kit consists of the high pressure seal itself and the carbide seat that it rests on. Now the carbide seat has two sides. One side is flat and one side is chamfered. That'll come up later on. Now these two seal kits are located on the cross shaft here and at the inlet here. Now, when you're looking at the tool, you'll notice the seals are failing from these weep holes that are arranged around the tool itself. There are 12 in total, 6 near the inlet, and another 6 on the opposite side of the cross shaft. Now, if the inlet seal has failed, the 6 nearest the inlet will be leaking. If the cross shaft seal has failed, it will be the 6 arranged in a semicircle. Now, to start out the changing of a high pressure seal kit, you'll need a 1/4 inch Allen wrench and a seal removal tool that will come included in an H3O premium kit. I'll start by removing the inlet seal first. So what you'll do is loosen the 4 bolts that are attaching the inlet cover to the tool. As you're doing this, keep in mind that if there's grease leaking out from anywhere, that's not something to worry about. That's not something wrong with the tool. An excess of grease is a good thing in this case because an under-greased tool will eventually damage itself. Now, as you remove this inlet cover, you might need to rotate the inlet just a little bit to make sure that those gears inside can slide past each other. It'll come out just like that. So, as I was saying before, you'll get the seal removal tool. Here is your high pressure seal. And here is your carbide seat. So you can put these to the side. And when taking these out, remember to look for damage to the seal itself, just to kind of see what happened to it. It might be a cut in the O-ring or damage to the seal shoulder. But it's always good just to see so you can know what might be causing the problem, why these seals are failing. So as you replace this, remember to put O-ring lubricant on the new seal. At Jetstream, we like to use Parker O-ring lube. And so this is already coated. And so we can put this right back in. And now the seat had 2 sides to it, a flat side and a chamfer. The flat side will sit right on top of that seal. So you'll get it right in here. And that chamfered side is going to go into the tool. This will be true for the inlet as well as the cross shaft. So you can take this, turn it right back over, place it just where it was before. Now, like I was saying, sometimes it won't lock in exactly. Just rotate the inlet a little bit. It might just be that those gear teeth are catching on each other. It's no big deal. You're not going to hurt it by helping it slide in right there. When you're tightening these bolts, we recommend a torque of 144 inch-pounds or 12 foot-pounds. In this video, I'm just going to hand tighten them. Again, you might see grease come up from underneath the bolts. That's totally normal. That's not something to worry about. That's not leaking grease. That's just, it's a little bit overpacked, which again, is not a bad thing in any way. So once those bolts are tightened down, we can move on to the cross shaft seal. Again, the cross shaft is right here underneath where the manifold would be attached. Now, if the manifold is not unattached before you start taking off the seal, you'll have to rotate it, because if not, you won't be able to access these bolts with an Allen wrench. So just like on the inlet, I'll be removing these bolts. Another thing to keep in mind is that when reinstalling these bolts, after the seal has been replaced, you're going to want to make sure to add anti-seize to it. Now, blue goop is what we recommend. Any kind of blue anti-seize. Nickel anti-seize works just as well. Just add a little bit of it when you're putting them back in. It just helps when you're going to be going through this general maintenance. You don't want any of those threads to be seized up trying to do what I'm doing. Just like on the inlet, you're going to grab this cross shaft here. Might have to wiggle it just a little bit, and it'll come off just like that. Same thing, grab your seal removal tool. But it'll come out just like that, just like on the inlet. Place that down. You can then grab your carbide seat. And remember, on this high pressure seal, a little bit of O-ring lubricant to help that O-ring get past. And as before, that carbide seat, make sure that the flat side is going to be facing the high pressure seal. The chamfer side, just like before, is going to be facing into the tool. So turn this over, place this right back. At this point, you can reattach the bolts, tighten them, again, 144 inch-pounds of torque or 12 foot-pounds. One important note about those weep holes on this tool is that if they're leaking, it might not mean that your seals are damaged. These seals are designed to leak at pressures under 1,000 psi, and so if you're running the tool at pressures underneath 1,000 and the weep holes are leaking, it is not damage to the seal. At working pressure, if you see these weep holes leaking, that is an indication of a damaged seal, and you should perform this general maintenance on it to inspect it for damage. Now, the final piece of the general maintenance is going to be re-greasing the H3Orbiter. As I said before, it's hard to over-grease this tool. Any excess grease is going to force itself out. It's not going to do any damage. Now, to re-grease, you're going to look for these 5 grease points here. You can use multi-purpose grease for this. In this demonstration, I'll be using a grease gun. If you're using a grease gun, just a real quick squeeze the trigger on that. 1 pump of grease is pretty much all you need. So we're going to set that up. Remove that, and there you have it. That is the general maintenance on the Jetstream 3D tool, the H3Orbiter. Thank you for watching.